Welcome back to another episode of Emotional Nightmares. I am your host. My name is Tyler. On today's episode, we are going to dive into some parenting. I know that we've been talking a lot of heavy stuff lately. We've been talking about your mental health. We've been talking about your substance abuse. We've been talking about spirituality. We've been talking about all that. But today we're going to go backwards and we're going to talk about parenting. With that, so we have a guest with us who wrote the book. Right? So she kind of wrote the book that, yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. So we are going to have her talk to us about parenting stuff. So kind of have you introduce yourself to the audience. So would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself a little?
Great, Tyler. Sounds like a plan. My name's Martha Burich, and the first thing I'm going to tell you is my mother loved my brother better. And I've had enough of that BS. And as long as you have more than one child, you're going to hear that until the day you die. So you might as well just get used to it right now because, my mother's already passed on. And it's still in the back of my mind, and I know better. So we'll just start there. And you know what? He's not that. Anyway, I'm Martha Burich. I wrote this book. It's backwards. It's backwards on your screen, but whatever. It's at Amazon. Yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. And how do I know? Well, when my son was 4, he was so spoiled because, his dad and I thought the way you raise happy children is you don't say no. And we were pushovers. And boy, did that kid learn that quickly. And then we kind of found that wasn't working too well and everybody was miserable. So I had to learn how to change and how to put my foot down and keep it down, how to say no and keep it no matter how much he whined and cried and got mad and had a little tantrum. I had to learn to grow up, basically is what it was. I had to learn to grow up and do the things that responsible parents do. And this is something I'm seeing a lot these days, Tyler. All of us, we're all living in high school. It's like we never.
It feels like it.
Yeah, it's like we never get out of high school. So then we grow up and we have these children, but we're not grown up here. So we're still, trying to keep the peace and trying to say yes all the time and trying to, and we're all just big babies. We want our way all the time. So if it's easier just to let the kid, okay, here, whatever you want, just get out of here, kid, you bug me. No, not that we don't love our children, but we're all still kind of big babies, so we have to grow up. So I have a lot of stuff in my book that helps us to grow up, and it's only like 60 pages. Here's what you do when the kid won't behave, won't put a seatbelt on. Here's what you do in the grocery store. And what makes me an expert? Well, I taught child psychology. I was a child psychology professor for 10 years. I was a high school special.
Well, that's going to be my first question to you is what inspired you to write this?
Anthony, my son. It inspired me to write it, and because other parents desperately needed help, just the way I did, and today it's needed even more. I am seeing so many parents; they are just clueless, just like my husband and I were. We had no idea that. See, we were good parents. You need to be a responsible parent. A responsible parent doesn't let their kid get away with stuff that they shouldn't. A responsible parent encourages their children and teaches their children. Guess what? We're a family. And you're a part of this family, which means you have work to do too. Mom and dad aren't the only ones who clean up. Mom and dad aren't the only ones who cook. Mom and dad aren't the only ones who do chores, take out the garbage, etc. Mom and dad aren't the only ones who help your brothers and sisters and take care of the neighbor and are friendly to the neighbors. We are all responsible for that because a happy family creates a happy society. So we need to teach our children, you know what? You are not an island. The world ain't your oyster. Little child, you are responsible. The world doesn't turn around or revolve around you. So we need to be responsible and teach them that. But unfortunately, we're still figuring that out ourselves because we're all still in high school trying to be popular. Well, and okay,
Amen to that.
I was also a high school let me finish this, special education teacher for 16 years. So I have a lot of experience with special education, attention deficit, autism, etc.
So you've been in high school all your life.
In so many ways.
So what does that look like, right? So what does raising responsible and happy children, what does that actually look like in an everyday life?
Oh, such a good question. I was in college and I was pregnant. And there was a man there in one of my classes. He already had a child who was like 4 or 5. And he said, I'm going to give you some advice, and I hope you take it. Never do for that child what the child can do for themselves. So that means if they're 2 and they say, I want the salt, you say, there it is. You don't go up, get up and get it. And I was watching some movie, and the mother made breakfast. The kids were teenagers. The mother made breakfast, so they're all sitting, and then the son says, Mom, where's my orange juice? She got up, went to the fridge, poured it, and put it in front of him. No, 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 no. Well, honey, where's your orange juice? It's in the fridge, where it always is. I mean, this constant serving and somehow thinking that the parent is a servant. Please, we need to be responsible for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think too, a lot of that would go into the parents, like the codependency of a parent, because like you hear those parents that are very much so into. It was funny that you say that, right? Because I was just talking to somebody about this, where like you meet somebody who's like, my only thing in life was I was born to be a parent, and I'm like, being born to be a mom can't be a life goal. Like anybody can do that. Like that's not really a life goal to do. So it's interesting to hear you say that as well too, in a sense, right?
Well, and here's the thing, Tyler. Children grow up and leave. If you're in a
Yeah,
marriage, you really need
yeah,
to preserve that marriage and do not put the children over the spouse. That causes so many problems because the children are going to grow up and leave. And where are you going to be in your 60s and 70s? Because they're going about doing their own business, probably trying to get you to babysit. So who are you left with if you're always putting your children in front of your spouse? And in fact, my brother, he had stepchildren, and his wife put the children before him. And in fact, the issue was the daughter was doing drugs, and my brother said to her, "Look, I'm not losing my home because of you. You cannot bring drugs into
yeah,
your home, and if I catch you again, you're out." And she was an adult. It wasn't like she was a teenager; she was an adult. Um, when he kicked her out, the mother stood behind the daughter, and that was the end of that. And that was the end of that relationship. And my brother and this woman had been together for like 14 years, and he had practically raised these children, from a young age. So yeah, when you put your children in front of your spouse, you have to really start thinking, what is my life? What's my priority? And too often we don't put relationships in priority. And also, and I really want to make this point, mom and dad do not have to be on the same page when it comes to discipline. Everybody disciplines different. As long as there's not abuse and name calling and things like that, let mom be mom and dad be dad. Parents seem to think, well, I do it this way and you have to do it my way. No. And the child knows who's a sucker. The child knows who's a sucker. So if you're a sucker, the child is always going to go to you, and you and mom or you and dad are both going to figure that out. Who's the sucker? And if you want to continue to be the sucker, be the sucker. But if you don't, well then do something different. But stop expecting everybody to do what you do. Then the grandparents too. Well, I told them not to do that. I got to tell you this story. All right, we never did hit Anthony. I did not believe in spanking. And my mother never hit me either. So it wasn't like she would. Anyway, so my mother and my mother-in-law take Anthony. He was about 3 to the park. And he would not do what they asked. He's running around. He just would not behave. So my mom swatted him on the bottom. She just not a beating. She just tapped him on the butt. And so she comes home and she said to me what happened and that she swatted him a little bit. And my response, Mom, now we don't do that, please. So did she hurt him? No. Did she get his attention? Yes. So, it was for me, if I'm going to let my mother have my child, if it's not abusive or name calling, things like that, then I've got to let her do things her way. But see, we all seem to think that, you know how it is when we're young. We think we know everything. Mom,
yeah.
mom.
Well, your book talks a lot. So your book does talk about discipline, right? So what is the biggest misconception about discipline in parenting?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with that somehow the child has got to agree with everything. You're going to sit down and you're going to talk to the child. So here the kid's playing video games 24/7, and his grades are really bad at school, and everything's a mess. And you sit down with them and you say, I'm really concerned. We're going to have to do something about this. And the kid says, no, 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 I'm okay, Mom. It's all going to work out. No, dear, we have to make a plan. And if you and I can't come to a plan, we're going to use my plan. And my plan is, the phone at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever, the video games, everything's done, blah, blah, blah. And you have to take control. But see, parents even think that the child has to agree. You cannot, a 2-year-old cannot reason, okay? A 2-year-old cannot reason. and a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. I mean, it takes them till they're 7 or 8 till they can really reason. Now, you can explain things. There's nothing. Explain, explain, explain. That helps them grow. That helps them get smart. But for heaven's sakes, stop trying to reason with children. Give an explanation, say, and that's that. And don't give a gazillion choices all the time. You know what? If you don't need to give a choice, don't give one. And if you're going to give a choice, Tyler, boy, this is a big one. Only give choices you're willing to give. If you say, honey, you want eggs or you want French toast? Oh, I want French toast. Oh, I don't want to make French toast. Well, what'd you offer it for? Only give choices you want to give. You want the green pants or the red pants? But you know what? When they're little, don't give them choices. Just here's what you're wearing today. Unless they start, then they get to an age where like, I want to wear this. Okay, all right, that's okay today. So, stop always trying to let the child be an adult. Be a parent. Just tell the kid what to do sometimes.
How important is the emotional literacy in children, and how can a parent nurture that?
What exactly do you mean by that?
So I guess what I mean by that is like a child's emotions, so communicating, right? So with parents, so it's kind of a loaded question because what I'm going to get into is the positive discipline and how that really works, right? So with discipline, you hear all the negative things on the side of like how it harms the self-esteem, right? So you discipline them and like it's going to hurt their self-esteem and their self-worth and everything like that and how damaging that can be, right? So the child's emotions, how can a parent nurture that side of it so that when they are disciplining them, they're not hurting that self-esteem? Does that make sense?
In work environments, the boss, when he has to criticize an employee, they're supposed to do it in a sandwich. So first you go, hey, you know what? I am so appreciative of the great work you do. Almost everything you turn in is really great. And, I noticed there's this one little problem here that this didn't turn out too well. But, other than that, things are really great. So there's that sandwich, right? So you can do the same thing with kids with discipline. I mean, you can work it that way. And also, you talked about feelings. All right. First thing you want to teach your child, and this is from when they're really, really young, is you talk about feelings. So let's say the child, let's say they're 8 months old and they're mad. Then you can see they're kind of mad. And you say to the child, you say, wow, I see you're mad. What are you mad about? Because this happened or that happened? And just, yes, I can understand that. And my thoughts when I get mad are, boy, oh boy, I really wanted that. And it makes me mad. But you know what? I can't be mad all the time. Just like you can't, because then it makes us sick, doesn't it? It makes us unhappy. So I have to find a way to calm myself. And so, you know what I do? I take a deep breath. Oh boy, let's take a deep breath. And now let's let our breath out. In with happiness and out with all the bad feelings. And when we're calm, then we can talk. And you know what? Mommy can't help you or daddy can't help you unless you're calm. So when you're calm, then we can talk about your feelings. So when the kid is having a tantrum, etc., you just simply say, well, honey, it looks like you're really aggravated. I'd love to talk to you about it, but I can't until you're calm. So when you're calm, we'll talk. And teach them from the very beginning how to get calm. Okay, remember, what do we do to get calm? Boy, we breathe in the happy and the good, and we breathe out what's aggravating us. And we do it as many times as we have to.
So with that, what would you say the difference between false praising and genuine encouragement would be?
Honey, you're the best at this. You are the prettiest little girl. Oh my goodness, you're the smartest. That is false praise. And children that hear that become strange and self-centered. Nobody's the best at anything. Even the Olympic athlete who gets a 10, the gymnast, their little toe is bent. Okay? Nobody is perfect at anything. There's a handsome, beautiful person. There's a gazillion handsome, beautiful people. No one is the prettiest, the handsomest, the smartest. And when we start saying things like that, that gets children, it gets people expecting things that aren't there and thinking that they need to be more than they are. They need to be perfect. And then we get all messed up with that kind of stuff. So honest praise is, I really like the way you did that. I remember one time my son was playing with a friend and Anthony had some little, these really cool war toys and missile launchers, Oh, they were really cool. And his little friend jammed one of the little missiles in there. And it was a little nerve kind of thing. And Anthony, he goes, what's the problem? And he goes, it's jammed, it's jammed. And Anthony went over to him and goes, well, let me see. And he worked on it and he pulled it out and he said, hey, here's what happened. Here's how you do it right. And I watched him do that and I pulled him aside later. I said, you know, Anthony, that was so mature of you. So many children, so many people would have said, you're breaking my toy. What did you just do? Blah, blah, blah. But no, you took your time and you not only fixed it, but then you showed him how to do it correctly. So it's those kind of things, being mature, growing up, not having a big fit when things go wrong. And, all right, I need to mention this before I forget. Don't make your children share their toys. When other kids come over, you need to, before the child gets there, you say, hey, so-and-so's coming over. Which toys are you willing to let them play with? And which toys do you not want anybody else to touch? Because we're going to take those and put them away right now so nobody gets them. You know, because Tyler, I don't let anybody drive my car. Please. I only,
Right.
use my computer. Those are my favorite things. So, and I'm certainly not going to give some of my favorite books away. So we have to respect the child's boundaries. But unfortunately, too many parents think that the kid has to just, well, you need to let him play with all your toys. Why? Why?
Yeah, I agree with that because I mean, so like we talk about, like in my world, I talk about boundaries a lot. And obviously, boundaries are started and created in childhood, and like as a child, that's where you learn them from. I agree with you. Like you don't have to. I know like when I was a kid, I used to have this one particular GI Joe that was like the one that I liked the most, and it was like my favorite GI Joe. And I wouldn't even let my grandmother play with that. I was like, this is my guy, and and she would say, like when my friends would come over or whatnot, like, you can play with anything that you want, just not this one particular thing, because this is the one thing, if something should happen to it, that's going to cause an issue, and the issue would be that I would be heartbroken. But at the end of the day, she respected that boundary, and it showed me later in life that it's okay to say no to certain things, and it's okay to say, like, this is my particular thing, and like I don't appreciate anybody touching it. So, you know what I mean? Like it creates that.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Well, shifting boundaries, they have a lot to do with the things that we're willing to do, even in addiction and alcoholism, because even when you're stinking drunk and drug addicted, many people still have a boundary. Don't, when we're, what's the word for that? There's a word for it when you're always moving your values and behaviors you won't do. See, when you don't have a strict.
There's a lot of different words for it. There's a lot of different words in the mental health for it, but I think of it the most of like with your analogy that you gave of the toys. Like I think that kind of shows, I guess today, in today's world, right, for lack of better terms, in today's world, like you do see where even in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, so on and so on, so even in the school system, where it's, no, if you don't do this, you're selfish, and you're this, that, and the third, and you start learning that, like the school system even teaches them that, like, when a child's saying, no, I don't like this, and like this is a boundary, you're being told, no, that's an insecurity, and like this, that, and the third. So like it's creating an emotional distress, for lack of better terms, is what you see a lot of. I think your analogy is perfect with the toys and not allowing, like, you can teach your kid to say no, because children are allowed to say no. You know what I mean? Because it goes into adult.
But we also need to let them know when it's appropriate to say no. Because you know what? When your parents ask you to do something, and you can disagree, but you have to disagree appropriately. No, I don't want to do that. All right, dear, but I need you to do it. Whether you want to do it or not, it needs to be done. Of
Right.
course, yeah, I don't want to do the dishes either. But guess what? They have to be done, and that's part of being in the family. Yeah, I don't want to do my homework either. But guess what? We need to get you through school. You can't just because you don't want to do it. But it's a whole different story. Like, go kiss Uncle Mike or Aunt Jenna. No, I don't want to. That's all right. Shake their hand or whatever. That's okay, sweetheart. Just say hi.
Right.
Go play. Yeah.
Yeah, I preach that one a lot, right? Like if your child doesn't want to hug somebody, don't force them to go hug somebody. Like that's not okay. That later in life will cause some serious issues. Unfortunately, though, it's not always like that, You see those issues in there. So, with your book, though, like let's talk about this. What are some good ways for parents to help boost the child's self-worth? Besides like the praising and stuff like that. Like, what's a good way?
Really
to
good
do that.
question. And let me read you, and this fits exactly. The first quote I have in the book is from Dr. Carl Rogers. If I were to search for the central core of difficulties in people as I have come to know them, it is that in a great majority of cases they despise themselves, regarding themselves as worthless and unlovable. Boy, oh boy, if that doesn't hit the nail on the head. So let's talk about how to, where are we right here? Building self-esteem, page 3. Let's go to it. Building self-esteem. Notice the good and say something about it every day, such as, you picked up your toys, thanks, or you're being nice to your sister, I like that. You could take it a step further and then ask your child, how do you feel about that? I notice you are doing your homework without being asked. How does that make you feel? How is that helping you? What are you learning from that? What results are you getting? By asking these questions, you help the child internalize their behavior. Give your child choices. Would you like, yeah, well, that can only go so far. Don't do it all the time because sometimes you just can't give them choices, but give them choices when you can. Use your child's interests as the basis for conversation. I see you play with your cars a lot. Do you like them? What do you like about them? I got to tell you a story. Okay, so Anthony comes home from school one day. I think it was third grade. Every day, and here's a tip too. When your kid comes home from school, you don't say, how was school? It's like, how was work? Yeah, fine. No, you say,
Right.
there's a lot of different things you can say. What I used to do is, what was the best thing and the worst thing that happened today? And then we'd have this wonderful conversation about, best and worst that happened to him and best and worst happened to me. And sometimes I'd say, okay, what kid got on the teacher's nerves the most today? We get all the scoop. I knew more about that classroom than the teacher sometimes. We had so much fun. Anyway, so Anthony comes home, I think it was third grade. He comes home, he goes, Mom, we read the best book at school today. I said, you did? What was it? He goes, it was called It Could Always Be Worse. And then he told me the whole book. It's this great Caldecott winner book all about this man that goes to what's the Jewish preacher called? The rabbi. Goes to the rabbi.
Rabbi.
And he says, oh my goodness, help me, help me. I have 6 children and my house is so loud I can't stand it. Everybody's always doing something. And the rabbi said to him, hey, you got a cow? And he goes, yeah, I do. Well, put the cow in the house. And he goes back next week. He goes, it's terrible. It's worse. It's worse. Please, what do I do now? He goes, you got chickens? Put the chickens in the house. So, it just was like that for like 3 or 4 weeks. And finally, the guy comes back to the rabbi. He goes, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. Please, please help me. What should I do? He goes, take all the animals back out of the house. Next time the man comes to the rabbi, he goes, life is so good. My home is so peaceful. And what's the moral of the story? Yes, it could always be worse. And we have to learn. We have to see, guess what? This is unpleasant. I don't like it, but acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. And if I can't get around it, if I can't change it, then I have to accept it. I'm still a big baby, Tyler. I get mad all the time. I'm always mad. But at least now, it used to be when I was mad, everybody had to suffer. My poor husband, my son, everybody suffered because you made me mad. Bad, you're bad, you're bad. Oh, I was very immature and terrible. Well, now when I get mad, I just go mind my business. I don't talk to anybody. I go to my room, I mind my business and have my little fit by myself, whether, the computer, so whatever I'm in. Well, anyway, let me tell you the story. So one day I'm washing the dishes. Now, we're all adults in this house. My brother washes his own dishes. My son washes his. And anyway, they'll leave 1 or 2 in the sink when I want to go down to cook. I like them all washed. So I'm washing these dishes and I'm whining to myself. Yeah, I'm washing these dishes. I can't believe it. Blah, 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 blah. There's nobody else do anything else around here. It's always me. It's always me. Because I like to be a big baby and a victim, as most alcoholics and addicts do. And it's probably going to last until, well, whatever. Anyway, so, I'm having my little baby wine fest. And I look out the window. My son's on a ladder cleaning the gutters. And my brother's mowing the lawn. At that moment, I said, okay, Martha, do you want to clean the gutters and mow the lawn, or do you want to wash the dishes? Shut up. Everything's in perspective. It can always be worse.
Everything is about perception. What did you learn about yourself when writing this book?
Okay. Oh, that's really good. You know what I learned? I learned I had to grow up. I learned that, that's a really, really good question. Any time, and you know this, Tyler, somebody just said, I was just in an AA meeting, and somebody said, anytime you're mad, you're wrong. I was like, wait a minute now. I don't know if I agree with that one. But if you look at it that way and okay, I'm really mad, and then you say to yourself, well, I'm wrong. If you can get past that and say, okay, how could I be wrong? Where could I be wrong? All right, this person said something and I didn't like it. Okay. Well, what? Either I'm going to ask them not to say it again, or I'm going to just, okay, they said something. Big deal. Big deal. Oh, so let me give you another story. So this girl gets on Facebook, and she must have been a young 20s or something, and she was in one of those law of attraction groups. Okay, and she writes, she goes,
Yeah.
I was at the grocery store, and this man came up to me, and he said to me, you'd be very pretty if you'd lose a few pounds. Oh, my goodness. Can you believe he said that to me? How did I attract such negativity? Why would he insult me like that? And, everybody was really agreeing with her. Oh, my goodness, dear, honey, oh, that's terrible. And I said, why would a stranger come up to you and just insult you? I suspect that he really thought he was doing you a favor, and he wanted to help you and was concerned about your health and your attractiveness. I don't think that he meant to insult you at all. I think he was simply giving an opinion. Maybe you didn't like it, but that's all. I don't believe that he had a bad aim at all. I think he was really trying to be useful and helpful to you. So, it's all in how you look at it. You can get yourself all upset. Can you believe what they said to me? And see, this is how you get, and this is what happens. Okay, somebody says you're a bad mother. Oh, what do you mean I'm a bad mother? How can you say such a thing? Can you believe she said I was a bad mother? Well, you know what you say? You say, well, that's interesting that you believe that. What is it exactly that I do that makes you say that? And then you'll hear something like, well, you don't let them have any sugar. Then you'll find out what they really, it's not like you beat your kids or anything like that. Then gets, oh, what makes you say that? Oh, that's interesting. I'll think about it. That's all. Oh, thanks for letting
Yeah,
me
I mean,
know.
I
That's
like that.
all.
I
And
think
move
that
on. Now
goes.
you got information.
Yeah, I think that goes with everything in life. Like I always tell people, always look at, somebody tells me like, "Hey, I don't like you." Okay, that's fine. You don't have to like me. What I do to like, why? Like I always want to know why into things, because those whys, if you come over to me and you tell me like, hey, the way you mow your grass is wrong. Okay, why is it wrong though? Like tell me what I'm doing wrong because maybe I do need to fix it. Maybe not. Maybe you're just a nut job, but at the same time, like maybe I am wrong. You know what I mean? I guess if you come up to me and tell me you don't like me, I don't really care. I just keep moving. But if it's something as simple as like, mowing my grass, I should look at it. So if you do come up to me and you say like, you would be a lot more attractive if you lose weight. One, so there's a couple things to that though too, because I think a lot of that plays into self, right? Like I'm cool with myself, so I don't care how you feel if you think I should lose weight or not. I don't care. But at the same time, like damn, like why do you think that way? Like what about me screaming that to you? Because maybe you are a whack job. Sometimes you gotta look at that.
Exactly. And this way
Yeah.
you get more information. And then if you want to take it, if you want to use the info, use it. Otherwise, take what you need, leave the rest.
Yeah.
This way you have
Yeah.
information. The other way, you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off, all upset about nothing. All right. Okay, what else can we do to help the child with the self-esteem? Accept your child's feelings and give these feelings a name. So you need when they're little, you say, oh, looks like you're mad. Looks like you're sad. Oh, looks like you're happy. Looks like, oh, you know, name those feelings. Looks like you're concerned. Looks like you're worried. Oh, all right, and here's my big tip. Parents, stop saying if. If you're good, then we can. That's a bro. As soon as you're dressed, you can have breakfast. As soon as you pick up your toys, we can go outside. When this is done, as soon as the dishes are clean, we can go out to the park. As soon as, when, then. That is a gigantic help. But don't say it if you don't mean it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't know. I don't have kids. My child's over there in this chair. He's sleeping. That's my cat. That's my
Oh,
child. I tell him that though. I tell him all the time. Like if you pick up your toys, you can have a treat. So,
no, it's as
he
soon as,
does. He picks them
Tyler,
up.
now it's as soon as you pick up your toys, then you can have a treat.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to start rephrasing it to him. Maybe he'll listen. He does pretty good. He picks them up. So, all right. So blended families, stuff like that, right? What kind of parenting advice do you have for that?
And that is a really big one. Do not argue in front of the children because they're going to learn how to divide and conquer real easy. And when you play these
Yes, they
games
are.
like you're not my dad, you're not my mom, well, guess what? They are. And I'm here and I want us to have a good relationship and I want you to have a really good life. Everything I tell you is my concern for you. So what can we do so you and I can get along and we can have a good time? And then the kid will say, yeah, just leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I can't. I can't leave you alone. I'll leave you alone right now, but we need to be together. I want us to be able to have a good relationship. So you know what? Why don't you tell me what I can do so we can have a good relationship? And I'll take those things under advisement. So constantly be doing that, and also stop criticizing. Stop criticizing. Make a point, all parents, step parents, everybody, make a point to say something positive to your child and your spouse, your loved ones, your family every single day. I appreciate you. I'm so happy you're my child, you're my husband, you're my wife, whatever. I really appreciate how you do this. Thank you so much for going to work every day. Thank you. Say something nice to them every day. And I noticed, how you do this. I notice how you do that. It means a lot to me. Say something positive to your family members every single day and stop the criticism. If you need to criticize, do not do it at mealtime when you're all sitting together. Make a plan when you're both calm to talk about whatever it is you have to talk about. Don't ruin meal times with negatives. So many kids, they've just had their meals ruined because they'll be eating dinner and then here comes, well, your teacher called me today. Oh, yeah, thanks, Mom. I like to eat my dinner. Because you know what? Then you get sick to your stomach. You're like, ugh, now what? Now what? And then you don't want to sit with your parents. You don't want to have dinner with them. You don't want to eat with them because then they bring up negatives all the time.
Where can they get your book?
Amazon. It's up at Amazon. Yes, you can.
Over.
And I love how it's backwards, too. Yes, you can. I guess I didn't click the right button. Technology. Yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. And you know what? Guess who endorsed this book? Jack Canfield himself, the Dean of Self-Esteem, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and the Success Principles. This is all Jack. Jack said this book has the potential to transform the lives of families worldwide. And I had a woman who had 4 kids, and she read this book, and she goes, this would have saved me so much time if I'd had it when they were younger. But it's helping me now. But boy, I could have avoided so many problems if I'd have had this when they were babies. And really, you should get the book when the kid's a baby. Read it, put it on. It's 60 pages. Boom. Keep it in your diaper bag, your purse, because you can refer to it. Okay, here's what you do. You go to the grocery store. Oh, and here's another thing. Tell the child what's going to happen. Okay, sweetheart, we're going to go to the grocery store. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to walk beside me, and if I can't see you and you can't see me, then I'm going to put you in the cart. All righty? You hear me? And get their answer, honey. What'll happen if I can't see you or you can't see me? I'm going to sit in the cart. Right. That's right. Great. Now let's go to the store. Well, of course the kid's going to run off. My God, the grocery store is a big toy store. It's fabulous. I love the grocery store. So the kid runs off. You go. You get the kid. Don't get mad. You get the kid, you go, I see you decided to sit in the cart. And they'll go, no, Mommy, I'll be good. Yeah, next time. Stop with the second chances. Stop that. You told the child what you expected, what was going to happen. Boom. They can have the second chance next time you go to the grocery store. And, I was just going to, I had another thought.
Like that helps create consistency.
Yes, yes. And be sure the child relates back to you what's going to happen if they don't. Oh, I'll have to sit in the cart. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I went to a canine demonstration with a police dog officer, a trainer. And all these people brought their dogs. There were like 10 dogs in there. Some of them were scary. I didn't bring my dog. I knew my dog. I'm not going to go there. All right. Well, anyway, so this lady, she has her dog. He goes, do you want me to work with you and your dog? And she goes, yeah. So this dog, every time somebody would get up or something, the dog would growl, get all, And so he got that under control. And so he said to the lady, okay, now you pay attention and you keep him under control. Every time he does it, you make sure you correct him. And the correction was that the chain was around the neck and they just pull it, just so the dog would feel it, not to hurt him, but to feel it. Okay, so we're sitting there for about a half an hour and the dog's doing good. But then the dog starts going back to his old ways. And then the next thing you know, everybody walks by, the dog's getting all excited and, being just like he was before. And when other dogs come by, he's all reactive. And so the canine guy said, what do you think happened? And she goes, well, he's misbehaving and we had it under control. And he goes, are you annoyed? She goes, yes, I'm very annoyed. He goes, there's the problem. The dog feels that. When you correct, you cannot have any feeling. This is just what's happening. It's because you get aggravated that you're losing your efficiency and efficacy with your child and with the dogs. You have to you have to be completely emotionless, even if the child's done it 1,000 times. You have to be, oh, here we go. We're going to have to clean this mess up. Oh, here's what I expect. Here's what I expect. You cannot have emotion involved in it because then that gives attention. And then also with the dogs, they feel, and the children too, they feel your emotion and it messes up, it interferes with their ability to behave correctly.
I like that. I like that. Never thought of that.
Yeah, but Tyler,
Well,
there's the rub.
I mean, God willing,
There's the problem.
God, God willing, God willing, I'll never have to like fully dive into reading this book. I'll be honest with you. I hope I don't have kids. Me and my girlfriend don't want them, so hopefully we don't have them. But a lot of my listeners do, and I greatly appreciate you coming on and explaining your book. And I will put the links in the description, so they will be there, at least on our YouTube channel. So if you're not watching the YouTube channel, I don't think links really work on our Spotify or any of our other platforms. But if you're not on the YouTube, go over to the YouTube channel and you can click the links to her Amazon and get the book if you're interested in it. And anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I have a Facebook group called Mastering Child Behavior. So join that group, and I have links in there and all kinds of videos and things that make parenting easier. Mastering Child Behavior.
We'll link those too.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. All right. So as always, I want to thank you guys for listening. So you could have been anywhere in the world today. You sat here and chose to be here with us for this 45 minutes of your day, and I greatly appreciate you for that. Hopefully you heard something here that helps you. If you did not hear anything that helped you, everybody in the world, it seems to have a podcast nowadays. So by all means, feel free to go find another one. I don't care how you get help, just get help. At the end of the day, we don't have to suffer in silence anymore. So hopefully this helps you with any parenting concerns, any issues that you may be having. Like I said, if not, go find another channel. We appreciate you though for watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends to keep coming back. And thank you, and cue the cat eyes.
Thanks, Tyler.